When Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn was first launched in 2013, the monk was a fast-paced, action-packed job with a simple rotation, but plenty of room for mastery. Almost 7 years later, the core of the job is still identical, but unfortunately some of what's been added since then has failed to enhance the core fantasy of the job. Today I'm going to give my impressions on Final Fantasy XIV's 5.05 iteration of the monk. Let's get started. Just like with my other impressions videos, we're going to start by talking about the basic 1, 2, 3 combos of the job, but the monk is a special snowflake and it doesn't use combos. It has what are called forms. When you're actually playing the game, the monk's forms feel identical to combos, but there is a little bit of nuance that comes into play when you start unlocking more skills at higher levels. With that in mind, the basic combat of the monk feels more active than what you get on the other melee DPS because the monk has direction-based requirements on all of its single target weapon skills that are used in your main rotation. This means in order to deal your optimal damage, you have to dance between the flank and the rear of the enemy. This is subjective, but I enjoy the challenge of trying to always hit my weapon skills in the correct spot. Landing position-based requirements on every single weapon skill can be either tedious or impossible at times, but patch 5.05 made a change that makes this a lot easier. The ability Riddle of Earth used to be something that you could drag off of your hotbar and you wouldn't miss it at all. Now it's something that I always want to have access to. Riddle of Earth grants you a buff for 30 seconds, and if you take damage during that 30 seconds, you gain a new buff called Earth's Reply. When Earth's Reply is activated, it extends the duration of Grease Lightning to its maximum. Earth's Reply also reduces your damage taken by 10% and nullifies all direction-based requirements for 30 seconds. I initially thought this was going to trivialize the monk's gameplay, but you can't have a 100% uptime on Earth's Reply, so there are moments when you have to use direction-based requirements. Even if you pair Riddle of Earth and Earth's Reply with True North, there are moments when you have to land your direction-based requirements to deal your optimal damage. What this means for me is I don't try to get as much uptime as possible on the removal of direction-based requirements, I just use the abilities when I need them. The next ability to receive a change in patch 5.05 is Form Shift. It now has the additional effect of extending Greased Lightning to its maximum duration when executed from Form 3. This functionality has huge benefits in dungeons. You can essentially go from the start of a dungeon all the way to the final boss and beyond without ever losing your Greased Lightning stacks, and that feels so crispy. There's not much to say here. This is an amazing change, and I'm so glad somebody on the development team at Square Enix thought of it. Another change that adds to the quality of life for the monk was made to Riddle of Fire. This was a damage buff that used to reduce your attack speed, and for the monk, reducing your attack speed feels really bad. The attack speed reduction was removed, and now Riddle of Fire just increases your damage dealt. There's one more change that was made in patch 5.05 that adds great quality of life. The meditation ability opens all 5 chakra when used outside of combat. For anyone that's never played Monk, the chakra system is gained at level 54. When you have all 5 chakra open, you gain access to the ability, the Forbidden Chakra. It delivers an attack with a potency of 370. At level 74, you unlock the area damage version of this ability called Enlightenment. It delivers an attack with a potency of 220 to all enemies in a straight line in front of you. So, everything that we just talked about feels great. The 1, 2, 3 combo for the monk has been unchanged since 2.0. There have been damage buffs here and there, but it is still the same rotation that everybody's been doing for a very long time, and that's okay. The direction-based requirements are fun, Greased Lightning is awesome, the meditation ability got some quality of life, so did Form Shift, Riddle of Fire, and Riddle of Earth. Unfortunately, there are still some quality of life changes and complete reworks that need to be done to make the monk feel truly complete. We'll start with the most egregious offender. The Tornado Kick ability, which is learned at level 60, is terrible. There are so few situations in general gameplay in which spending all 4 of your stacks of Greased Lightning are valuable. You can certainly point to a few niche situations where Tornado Kick will result in a slight DPS gain for you, but those situations are so few and far between, and there is a limit to how niche an ability should be. I've had many sleepless nights thinking about what could be done to Tornado Kick to make it more enjoyable, but I'm not going to share my ideas because who cares what I think? The developers are going to do what they're going to do, but whatever they do, hopefully they make Tornado Kick useful in some way. Next on the list, we have Six-Sided Star. This is a weapon skill that's unlocked at level 80, which delivers an attack with a potency of 400. Its additional effect, it extends Greased Lightning to its maximum duration. Now here's where things start to get bad. This weapon skill does not share a recast with any other actions. Upon execution, the recast timer of this action will be applied to all other weapon skills and magic actions. Six-Sided Star has a recast timer of 5 seconds, so when you execute it, it increases the global cooldown of all your other weapon skills to 5 seconds, and this feels terrible. And besides feeling terrible, there are very few situations in which using Six-Sided Star is beneficial. The additional effect of extending Greased Lightning to its maximum duration is also already occupied by Anatman and Form Shift. Speaking of Anatman, this ability is very cool and very powerful, and I've used it a lot, but it doesn't feel as responsive as it should. This channeled ability halts the expiration of Greased Lightning and your present form. Its additional effect, while in combat, it increases your stacks of Greased Lightning and extends the duration to maximum. The channel effect can last for a maximum of 30 seconds. The problem for me is that Anatman doesn't communicate to the player when you're going to gain your stacks of Greased Lightning, and sometimes the initial stack of Greased Lightning comes at an instant as soon as you activate the ability, and other times it takes up to 3 seconds to gain that stack. As far as I understand it, this is because of the tick rate of the server. Every 3 seconds the server will tick, and if you activate Anatman right before a server tick, you gain your stack right away. If you activate Anatman right after a server tick, you'll have to wait 3 seconds for the next server tick to gain your stack of Greased Lightning. Something should be done to remove the reliance on server ticking to gain your stacks of Greased Lightning while channeling Anatman. I don't know exactly what could be done, but something should be done to make this ability feel more consistent and more smooth. And there we go, that's going to do it for my impressions of the monk. In case it wasn't clear, I'm very happy with the current state of the job. I find it enjoyable, the core gameplay is very rich, maintaining Greased Lightning is easier than ever, but if you're not paying attention, you can still lose it, so I always feel like I'm active and engaged when I'm playing the monk. There are some things that need to be ironed out. Anatman needs a slight functionality improvement, Six-Sided Star could use some changes and reworks, and Tornado Kick needs to be redesigned from the ground up, but besides those 3 things, an overwhelming majority of the monk's actions are functioning very well. So with all of that said, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support the channel more than you already do just by watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting, you can head over to patreon.com/iBluairJgR to become a patron. As always, the name of the game is Final Fantasy XIV, the name of the channel is iBluairJgR, there's plenty more content coming in the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.